If your music sounds amateur, these 8 hacks are going to make it feel much more professional. I'm going to show you exactly how these hacks fix real world problems. And they're not just random tricks, by the way. These are real hacks I've taken from professional songs, but I've also used in my own music over the last 10 years. Let's start with hack number one, which is something I think 90% of producers overlook, and it's all about rhythm. So, most producers focus on drums when they want more energy, but rhythm can actually and should come from other instruments too. So let's listen to some examples and go over 4 keys to arrange rhythmic excitement, and none of these are drums. And hey, if you want a free printable version of all these 8 hacks, I made a checklist that you can just put right next to your DAW. It's free. You can grab it at the link below. Okay, key one, change the cadence of your playing. So if you're playing whole note chords, try switching them to eighth notes or 16th notes. Whatever instrument you have, this will instantly add energy. Listen how this chorus transforms just by strumming rhythmically versus holding those chords. Or the example after, where I have a piano in the verse, but I stay away from whole notes. Key two, add an instrument that plays the root note in your key. I find this works great in a verse section on guitar or piano. It adds movement without stepping on your vocals. So here's a simple example from a verse I produced. Listen to how the rhythm adds life and interest to the verse, but really notice the difference when I mute and unmute this part. Key three, you can create a lot of rhythm using tremolo or an LFO tool. I love using the XFer LFO tool for this. So listen what happens when I take the same example, but I run it through an LFO. Key four is so good, I'm just gonna save it to the end, but let's jump into hack two, which creates so much depth and emotion in your choruses. I like to call it the contrast and harmony framework. It's how pros build that rich, layered feel in big songs. You've probably layered sounds before, right? But this takes it another step further. So instead of blindly stacking sounds, try this. First, contrast. Let's take this lead guitar part and layer it with a sound that plays the same rhythm and notes, but with a different texture. For example, this pigment sound has much more reverb and less attack, so that that guitar part still cuts through, but now it has way more depth behind it. Second, harmony. So instead of playing the exact same melody again, try playing a harmonizing part to give it some type of chordal information. This can create instant ear candy that will make it pop out in the chorus. So, following this contrast and harmony framework, if you do this a few times with a few tracks, you can take this stale lead guitar part like this and turn it into something like this. Okay, hack three, which is a pro level arrangement trick no one really talks about, but it makes a huge difference in how engaging your track feels. And this is all about changing where your vocal lands. Most beginner producers and songwriters unknowingly place their vocals in the same rhythmic pocket across every section, and this just lacks groove and excitement. So instead, try this. Shift the timing of your lead vocal between the verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. In this song I recently co-produced with a couple of artists in Nashville, listen to how the vocal phrases start at different times in each section. It's very subtle, but it keeps your ear locked in, and most professional songs do this. Okay, so let's see where the vocal sits right here, here's the lead vocal. I'll blow up the signal here so you see it. This is the verse. This is the downbeat of one of the verse. So notice the vocal happens on the downbeat of after the one on the verse. So we come into it, the bar before. Went from Buffalo and made my way to Nashville. So it comes after. Boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, went to. So which is nice because that happens the same, but then in the pre-chorus, it doesn't happen the same thing on the downbeat of the next of the pre-chorus. It happens on the upbeat before. So coming into the pre-chorus here, notice the shift in melody. Finally get some peace of mind. Got a fever boiling in my veins. Just a dream. On the upbeat, da 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 da. Got a fever, so upbeat, and then on the drop, on the chorus, downbeat, but kind of similar thing actually on the verse. Like a rolling stone. But it happens before, so it's the downbeat, the bar before, landing right on the one when the chorus starts, so it's actually different. But that contrast between each section really makes it engaging. Let's move on to hack number 4, which is going to save you a ton of time when you get to mixing. It's all about the frequency bucket rule. And yes, if you don't know by now, I like rules, but this is going to be your secret weapon for a cleaner mix. So if your mix sounds messy and just like not pro, it's probably not your EQ. It's likely your arrangement. So here's the fix. Start thinking in 3 frequency buckets. So low, medium, and high. Great productions spread elements across these ranges. Beginners, they often just cram everything into the mid-range, and this just leads to the dreaded 3M situation, muddy, middle, mess. So here's how to avoid that. So let's say you play guitar. That's usually a mid-heavy sound. So if I want to arrange some piano, let's say in the pre-chorus where I have my guitar, I wouldn't just play the same octave as the guitar is playing. I would play an octave up. Now I have room to add a bass or a kick drum in the low bucket. So everything kind of owns its own bucket. And of course, you're going to get multiple instruments in the same bucket. Just make sure that they're not fighting. The point here is just be mindful of the buckets before you just simply add or record a sound. So you can ask yourself, okay, what bucket should this be in? And trust me, you will mix faster when you do this. Okay, hack number 5. This is one of the biggest traps beginners fall into, and they're unsure still why their songs sound unprofessional. This is because they're not following the dinner plate rule. Another rule. Here's the rule. Only serve 2 or 3 melodic flavors per section. Any more than that, it's just going to overwhelm the listener because it's like too much food. If you pile too much food on a plate, no one knows what to taste. So let me show you an example. In this track here, in the verse, pre, and chorus, there's never more than 3 melodic parts at once. Now, here's a sneaky little bonus. Did you notice the third melody in the chorus? It's actually a recycled version of the lead melody from the verse. Dive in, take the weight off of our shoulders, moving on from where we've been. So this is a killer move. Reusing a vocal line as an instrumental melody, this is going to create familiarity, and the listener is instantly going to connect with it because they've heard it before earlier in the song. Let's move on to hack number 6, the identical twin problem, a super common problem in modern music. So in a DAW like Logic, copy paste is your best friend, but it's also going to be your worst enemy. It's way too easy to just duplicate verse 1 into verse 2 and call it a day. Same with chorus 1 and chorus 2. But if every section of the song starts to feel the same, it's going to drag. So here's how to keep things familiar and fresh. Let's take an example. Sure, I also copy and paste all the time too, but because I know I do this, I'm going to then tweak the arrangement to add contrast. For example, first I might do a copy and paste from verse 1 to verse 2, but then I might automate that pasted chord progression differently by adding slightly a different reverb or maybe a volume dynamic or a high cut or a low cut. Second, I'm going to change the beat. So let's say in verse 1, there were no drums. Well, in verse 2, I'm going to add some drums. Or in verse 1, let's say there was already like kick and snare or kick and snaps. Well, then in verse 2, I'm going to have kick, snaps, and maybe hi-hats or maybe nothing at all. Always thinking contrast. These are small changes, but they go a long way in keeping the listener's attention. And this hack can be supercharged if you do the next hack really, really well. So if every section of your song uses the same chord progression, it can start to blur together, especially in the chorus where you want that lift and contrast. So here's the fix. Try using a different chord progression for each section, or at least changing it up a little bit. This used to be super common in the 60s and 70s, and most great songs from that era always had a different chord in the chorus. And honestly, and of course, it still works. Even just changing one chord, it can give your chorus that lift that's missing. So if you're not sure what chords to use, go to piano-keyboard-guide.com. Simple chart. Look, like if you're in the key of G, so chords in all major keys, I'm in the key of G, I have all of these chords to use. So if I'm doing like a 1, a G to 6 to a 5, like 1, 6, 5, I know I can go to any of these chords in the chorus. So a C would be a nice lift going to the 4 chord. So really, you can choose any pattern, but these kind of help you focus in. If you don't know anything about theory, pick the chord in the major key. You also have minor keys below. Find the chords you can use and find different patterns. And speaking of contrast and vibe and lift, hack number 8 is where the real magic of vocal arrangement happens. So if your vocal arrangement isn't working, no amount of cool layers or drum tricks are going to save your song. So here's a popular rule of thumb. Every section of your song, verse, pre-chorus, should have a distinct vocal rhythm and melody. One super effective trick, use rhythmic, fast-paced vocals in one section, then contrast it with longer, more open melodies in the next. In this track that I recently produced called Everywhere, I listened to how the verse vocal drives the rhythm, but then how the pre-chorus just opens up, giving space and also contrast from the previous section.
Well, I've been everywhere, man, yeah, I've traveled far and wide. I breathe the mountain air and see myself through others' eyes. I fall in silence. Ooh, catching feelings while I'm running down a dream. Ooh, let me tell you, man, it's never how it seems.
This keeps the listener engaged and interested and makes the chorus hit way harder when you switch it again. So nailing these hacks are going to start to make your songs feel much more interesting. But they'll only work if you nail the balance and mix of everything, which is why you need to watch this video here. And I'll show you 16 brutally honest mixing truths that you must start tackling today if you want your mix to sound polished and release ready. So I'll see you there.